you very much for taking the time to review the L9 Component Manager. In this video, we are going to walk through the adding of a component. So we are going to start on the L9 main page, which you see here, and I've already logged in at this point. So if you're interested in setup information, please do review the first part of this video series where we go through those motions. You'll also notice that there are two categories on the screen. One of them is a resistor and the other one is for ICs. If you're interested in how we created those categories, please check out the video for component creation. All right, with that being said, let's get on with it over here. What I'm going to do is demonstrate the entry of two components. One will be the resistor and the other one will be ICs. And for time consideration, I've already looked up two examples so we can add those in quickly. And you can see how quickly it is and how easy it is to add them in L9. So let's start off with the resistor first here. So I do want to add in a new part. I can simply click on L9 to get to the top level if I want to do that or need to do that, and I can click on resistors. Once I'm on the resistors page over here, I can click on the add resistors button here. So I'm going to do so, and you will now notice that it will come up here prompting for some information. And what's really nice about L9, and if you saw part 1 and you've added in your API for Octopart, by simply providing that manufacturer's part number, L9 can pretty much fill in the rest of the blanks over here. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to go over to Octopart. I've already did a search for resistor 47K Panasonic 0402, and we can see that over here as such. So I'm going to click on this one here. This is the part that I want, and the only thing I really need to do at this point is simply copy and paste this number over here, the Panasonic number, into L9. So that's what I'm going to do here for the manufacturer's part number, and I'm going to press Get Values. And boom, there it is. It's all been filled in at this point in time. So we can see what our CPN is. Again, is the category part number here. This is something that we set up earlier when we created the category. You can see what the part number is going to be. So this is the format that we will see. And again, as I mentioned in the last video, we have it set up in such a way that when you see these part numbers, you see the values of them, and we're not worried about distinguishing one from the other because that is what the CPN is doing here. So it makes it very, very easy to go through a whole list of resistors to see their values and their tolerances and their footprints all set up in this format here. You can see the value here. That's something that everybody wants to see. You can see its description as well. So this was pulled out directly from Octopart. We can also set up things like the symbol. So if we actually had a different symbol for that, we can certainly change these things by hitting the manually fill here, and that will allow us access into any one of these particular fields. All right, but at this point in time, everything looks good. I did pick an 0402, but if I need to have a different footprint, I can simply put in other, and it will prompt me as to what that is. Now, just one note about that for both the symbol and the footprint. These things have to exist in both the symbol library and in the footprint library respectively. So once we've set this up over here, and I'll do a future video on this, what we need to make sure of is that when we're trying to link L9 into Altium Designer, that there is a symbol that is called res, that there is a footprint that's called R0402. We can change that later on, so if we do have a different name for it, we can certainly come back into L9 and fix that. But that's something we may want to make sure we have ready to go already, so we're not trying to fix basically broken graphic links, what we're doing here. The rest of the information has been filled in. It also captures the data link as well. So I'm going to click on Submit Add. You'll see up here now that the part has been added. I'll press OK. So let's take a look over here. So the main information about this part has now been added into L9. One of the things you'll notice here as well is we have a status. And what the status is basically saying is that it has been submitted. Now, for those who submit parts in, and that could be the librarian or the user or the admin, we always want to have somebody else review the information that we put in here to ensure that it is proper. However, once it's been submitted, it can be seen and used in Altium Designer. So just note that. And in another video, I'll show basically the workflow process of changing the status and showing how we verify it so that this will turn into a green check mark. But for now, we've got a part in there, we have this information in there, and if we have a corresponding library to this, we'll be able to see this part in Altium Designer, which will in turn show everything that's in the L9 categories. Okay, now that we've added in this resistor, I'd like to show one more example in which we're going to add in an IC component. So again, we're going to go into the top left corner and hit the L9 logo, and we're going to go into the IC category here. We're going to hit the Add IC button here. It's going to look exactly the same as the way We did it for the resistor as well. This time I'm going to go into octopart. I've already found a part here. This is from Texas Instruments, and it's a remote 8-bit I/O expander for the I2C bus, and it's a 16-pin SOIC. And this is the part we want. We have actually used this part here at 9.connects before for our rangefinder board, and that is what we're going to copy into our copy buffer and have L9 added in. So let's go over back to our L9. We're going to click here and add this part number in. Now that we have this information over here, let's take a look at it. You can see everything did get filled in, that based off of how we set up our category preferences here. For the symbol, this is a little bit different than something like a resistor where it's a very generic, basically a generic look and feel. A lot of times these parts, especially ICs, are going to have their own look and feel to them. So for this example over here, I do have it open in Altium Designer. You can see that this part is going to have something that's going to be very, very different in terms of its symbol here. So as a result of that, I want to make sure that I give it some special naming conventions. If I need to make a change here, as I mentioned earlier, I simply need to click on Manually Fill Values. So I'm going to click on that, and that's going to allow me into an editing mode. For the symbol, I'm going to select Other. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this a name TI underscore, and you can see it over here. And I just copied and pasted the number that I took from octopart. And the reason why I want this is, again, remember that we're not dealing with a symbol-centric system, we're dealing with a database system, and all we really want to do is make sure that this special symbol that we have specific to this part is easily recognizable. And by using both the manufacturer's name and manufacturer's number, you really can't go wrong. It's going to be about as unique a symbol name as you can really get. As for the footprint over here, it is also showing as SOIC, but this part actually has a slightly different one. It is called DW16. And underscore N, and that's the one that we're going to use for this particular one. So as long as I know what the name of my symbol is and the name of my footprint is, as long as these libraries exist with these actual names in it, this will link up with it. The rest of it is all set to go over here, so I'm simply going to press Submit Add, and now it's been added in there. And again, we see the status symbol over here showing that yes, it's ready to go. However, it does need to be verified if we want to have the green status symbol. And again, I'll show that in a later video. So that's what I want to show here. In our next video, what I'm going to do is show how we link L9 into Altium Designer. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on our next video.